All right, so our video this time is going to be taking a look at multiplying mixed numbers. The thing that's different about mixed numbers is it's almost like multiplying a two-digit number because there's separate parts to our number, to our fraction. And so we have to make sure that each part is multiplied by each other part. One way I like to kind of introduce this idea is using the area model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my fractions, 1 2/3 and 2 1/2, and I'm going to place them on my, kind of like my mat or my rectangle. In this case, I'm going to start with that 2 1/2. So since that's my bigger number, I'm going to put 2 here, and then I'm going to separate this piece. So this is going to represent 2, and then this is going to represent 1/2. If I wanted to, I could also do 1 plus 1 plus a half. As long as the total on the top here matches the value of our fraction, we are fine. It's just the more pieces you break it into, the more work it's going to be in the end, but use whatever numbers you need for multiplying. And then my other side is going to represent my other fraction, which is going to be 1 2/3. So I'm going to put 1 here. And then this part is going to be 2/3. So remember, this is equivalent to 2 plus a half or 2 1/2. And then this is 1 plus 2/3 or 1 2/3. Now what I'm going to do is essentially I'm going to find the area of each of these pieces by using the dimensions that we've assigned to our rectangle. Starting with my upper left corner, which has a dimension of 2 by 1. So this particular rectangle ends up being 2 times 1, or having an area of 2 square units. I'm going to move over to the right, and this next one is going to be 1/2 times 1, which just has a value of 1/2. So the area of that rectangle is a half of a unit. Then I'm going to move down to the bottom. This one is a dimension of 2 times 2/3. And as we talked about in the other video, I can just multiply across. So this ends up being 4/3, which also would be 1 1/3. And then lastly, I'm going to do 1/2 times 2/3, which gives us 2/6, which is also equal to 1/3 because they're each divisible by 2. Now that I've found the area of each part, to find the actual answer, I just have to put all of those parts together because I'm essentially finding the area of this whole rectangle. So I just add all these parts. So I'm going to take 2 plus a half plus 1 1/3 plus another third from our 2/6. I'm going to put 1 1/3 and 1/3 together, so that's going to be 1 2/3. And then I know when I add, I need to have a common denominator, so 1/2 and 2/3 are going to be the same as sixths. So 1 2/3 becomes 1 4/6, and 1/2 is going to be 3/6. So 3/6 plus 1 4/6, or 3/6 plus 4/6 gives us 7/6, which is 1 1/6. And now I kind of have to put those pieces together. So I'm going to have my 2, which I haven't used yet, my 1 from right here because I just added the 3/6 plus the 4/6, and then also the 1 1/6. So I'm going to do 2 plus 1 plus 1 1/6. And in the end, 2 plus 1 is 4. So our final answer ends up being 4 1/6. Now, obviously, this tends to end up sometimes getting pretty cumbersome and being a lot of work. And so we start to think about what might be some more efficient strategies. Well, the beauty of mixed numbers is that we can rewrite them so we can think about them as a singular value instead of kind of like the combination of a whole number and a fraction. And we do that by just rewriting mixed numbers as improper fractions, because then we're just looking at almost like they're fractions, and then we get to just multiply across like we did with our regular fractions. So in this case, I'm going to take 1 2/3. So remember, I'm going to start with that 3 because I have one circle cut into 3 pieces. So that would be 3 pieces plus 2 more to end up with 5/3. And then I'm going to take 2 circles cut into 2 pieces. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 more is 5, but the denominator is going to stay 2. And now that I have my improper fractions, I can just multiply across. So 5 times 5 is 25, and then 3 times 2 is 6. And then depending on what you're doing, 25/6 might be a perfectly acceptable solution. You can just leave it as an improper fraction. However, if we're talking real life context, or if needed and you need to turn it back into a mixed number, remember we're just going to take that 25, divide it by 6. So in this case, 6 goes into 25 4 times, which is 24. And now I take 25 minus 24, which is 1. And then this remainder that we have here ends up becoming the numerator of our answer, so it becomes a 1. And our denominator stays the same, or it stays at 6. So just like we got above, our final answer is 4 1/6.